the original sign that was handmade out of wood by John Ring Sr. It's approximately 50 years old, and later on in this tape we'll have a little bit more of the history of it and the exact date of when it was made. These are some articles taken from a November 1941 issue of the newspaper, Albany, New York paper, and they tell about the library, that is the old small tin library building in the back of this library, being the smallest one in New York State, but it was added. This building was built in 1956 to 58.
What did you want about the
Explaining about the war memorial.
Mr. Ring, that Mary Daniel's father, made it and gave it to the community. At first it was the large V with the shield on it. And then when we filled that, I did the lettering incidentally, and when we filled that, then he made 2 scrolls, one for each side, and they're not flat boards, they're actually scroll shaped. And we've just about filled them. I don't remember how many names we finally had. Boys, the only one you would know, of course, is Alan Arnold. I would have known. The other boys were local then. Oh, those are so much better pictures than mine, and I think they're from the same negatives. I don't understand it.
Yeah, these were from Mary Daniel, these pictures.
From whom?
Mary Daniel.
Oh.
What are some of the other?
These. This is, tell about the groundbreaking.
Right. This one is the Reverend Ron Northrup, who was here at that time, and that's not Laura Jordan. That is Mrs. Whitman, Susan Whitman. And she was librarian. Mrs. Jordan was assistant librarian at that time. And George Woodard was president of the Library Association.
And then this shows the, can you tell it, how was the process done?
Well,
the
little tin library sat quite close to the road, as you can see. So when they built this present library, they built it directly behind it. And as you can see in the picture, the 2 structures are there at the same time. And when it was completed, they carried all the books manually from one library to the other. And then they moved the tin library away.
You notice how much the land was clear in the back, too.
Right, right.
Now there's so many trees, and it's like a forest.
It's all grown up back there.
In the back.
Oh, very definitely. As you go into Nassau from North Chatham, you can still see the old racetrack on the left. And on the right, up at the top of the hill, there are houses galore, you might say. And at that time, you can see in the background, there were absolutely none. This was at the fair one. I don't know the exact year, but you can make a guess by the age of the old cars.
Oh, yes. Can you zoom in on those old cars?
Yeah, I am.
And this was, so this is Nassau. And then, do you know anything about the car driving and on New Year's Eve, 1925, 1926, damaging
No, I have
the
no
bridge?
idea.
Yeah, that was...
And that lower picture, the interior view of the library, the little tin library, was taken very early in the years of the little tin library because it later became a much more crowded room. And we did have a regular desk with several drawers and, you know, the typical desk. And there were 2 benches, one on each side of the library, long benches, which eventually were crowded out. Like everything.
Yeah, they even had books in there.
Remember, Lee? it became quite crowded.
Yeah, and it said that it was pulled by a team of horses on Thanksgiving Day, 1915.
I wrote Arthur Kirchnocker and asked him if he knew anything about it, and he said, well, he remembers that his father is the one who moved it on Thanksgiving Day in 1915. And I read someplace in the last few days, among some of the literature I hunted out, that, as we know, it was the post office, and that was owned by Van Alstyne. And I always wondered how the library acquired it. And according to what I read, Miss Peck bought it from Van Alstyne. Except Dr. Peck was the one who, I think, he was the first one I ever heard of here.
It says standing
The
wearing
family
a straw
came in
hat is Dr.
1813,
Peck,
it
this
says.
one.
Yeah.
But Bessie Peck is the as a young girl,
Bessie
is the
was
baby
his daughter,
in the picture.
right. And that's one of the reasons I sent up that picture on the far, or that newspaper clipping on the far end. Miss Peck is the last one to the right in that picture. And that was more when she was an older lady. She was still redhead. Maybe it was out of the bottle, but I didn't think so. That's the post office when it stood down, as you can see, on the corner of the property where Kramer's house is.
That's Kramer's house.
And the other card is the street scene. The Jordan house, Hoppensberger house now, at that time was Traver's store.
Is that the post office there?
That was the library, the post office, yes.
When it was a post office.
Right.
Just before it was moved.
Yeah.
This is 1914.
Mhm.
And this one shows that honor roll
That
you were
shows the honor
talking
roll
about.
as it began with just the shield on it.
And then it was added to. These are, this shows a modern view of the old tin library that still
Yeah.
stands back behind this present building, and it had just been kind of cleared out of the brush and painted as a project from
And they more or less duplicated the original color that we always remember it as being.
This article down here, and you might swing over. We have newspaper articles describing the project of fixing up the library.
Left side, and the ones on the right side are all looking north, looking up the street.
Okay.
So you see
So-
it follow
If we go down, we're looking.
down
Yeah.
and then back up.
Okay.
And what are the dates?
All except that bottom snow picture were between 1900 and 1910. That snow picture was fairly recent, but I put it in because of the interesting skyline. You can see in all these pictures two things that stand out to me as North Chatham as I remember it, even more recently than that. I wasn't here then. The sidewalks, and so many more trees than there are now, because you see the trees are what the windstorm blew down a big percentage of them, and then the Niagara Mohawk and Highway Department cut down a lot of them.
And then the dams have changed a lot. There were a number of dams.
That was back in Arnold's, back of the barn.
1798 to 1944, they had a dam there?
Yeah.
Oh, and this is the Peck's house, which was, who lives
Well,
there now?
that shows the park that existed in the little triangle between the roads. There was a fair-sized little park there, 12 or 15 trees, and it seems to me somebody used to have a couple benches there even. It eventually was narrowed down to about 3 trees by the highway department when they paved the road, and then it was Then it was completely done, all the trees were taken out. And then fortunately, the Armstrongs have planted some flowers there, so it looks a little better again.
But it's very small now compared to what
Well,
it
it
used to
really
be.
isn't a park anymore. It filled in the whole area from, because the roads weren't as wide then, for one thing. House. I just thought they were some of the old
Peck's house
houses
is
that I
now
had pictures
Apple.
of.
Oh, okay, the Peck's house was Mrs. Yu's house and now Apple was
It's
Mrs.
now
Yu's house and then
Apple.
now
Yeah.
Apple Lydia. Which is this one.
Refreshments too, I believe. Jane?
He lived in the house here. He built the house without
In this picture, you can see Jane Rendell, who has been doing most of the narration. She's wearing a blue dress and has glasses on. She's been doing most of the detailed talking about the different pictures so far. And she's speaking with the Appolidios, who live in Bessie Peck's house. They recently purchased it after Lillian Hughes moved away just this last year.
In Armstrong's house.
Picture your mother?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have one like that. We always call that the fat and the thin of it.
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Maxwell. That was
Lived in
Grosjean's house now.
Broadstreet's house. Yeah, she was heavy, and she used to come over all the
Yeah.
time because we lived next door, and my mother
The Walkers,
just get me to sleep,
the
and she'd
Arnolds.
come over. So they put a big high step because she couldn't get up because she was too heavy.
Mrs. Bain, who was postmistress for many years, she was a sweet. There's more of us. My sister, me, and Phyllis Arnold.
How is she doing, Phyllis? How is she doing?
Betty Huntley.
James.
Big
How
bird.
is Phyllis doing? How is she?
Well, she got an infection in her foot this summer on a trip, and she was in the hospital for over 3 weeks. And the last I knew,
Remember these?
I remember that. That's my father.
Oh, really?
You can't tell it, but I can. There's something about the shape, and I have pictures of them. Here, there's Daddy again, and Wallace Bain, and Mr. Hogle, and Raymond Harder.
I remember.
That's our barn. That's the Eisenhower's grandparents. And Clarence Johnson ran the garage at the time, and we had a big snow, and he went out in the road and squatted down and took that picture so it would look even worse, just so he could mail it to them and show them what they were missing. I don't have that picture, but I've heard so much about it.
No, he was quite a character.
This was the lane into where Dagmar Arnold did live. You knew that. Yeah. That's my father doing what they actually shoveled that out at that time. Yeah.
By hand?
Top of the telephone.
Yeah. Oh, that was a bad snow. Beg pardon?
34.
34.
She said most of the girls that were in the friends had kids, and they were trying to keep up the reference and children's.
Well, these are some of the houses. Yeah.
That's
That was a truck loaded with candy, I heard. That was more or less before my time, but everybody enjoyed it, I understand.
I bet.
From the library, so we stopped in one afternoon, and
This is a picture of Bessie Peck, the founder of the North Chatham Library. She founded it in 1886. Some of the people at the Centennial celebration, Pat Colleen has the maroon vest and glasses, gray hair, was looking through the papers. She was secretary of the Board of Trustees for many years of recent past. In the white coat, and glasses, looking at the pictures, and is Alberta Groves, who's the post mistress and prominent member of North Chatham community.
I used to raise goats.
Strewn about were confiscated by North Chatham children. I remember hearing about that. I was here then. But I don't, well, we were too little to be allowed to go down there. That was the year after we moved from the Robinson house down to the house I'm in now.
So you lived for a while at the Robinsons house?
Beg pardon?
Where the Robinsons lived?
I was born in the Robinson house, and we moved when I was 4. I really think they were, but in North Chatham standards, they were very wealthy. He was supposed to have been a millionaire. That I wouldn't know. But the houses were fairly close together, and this was a well-built house and in good condition, basically. But Mr. Howell, who owned this house, bought it and had it torn down because he wanted more space so he could have better view looking out of his windows and so forth. And everybody felt badly, because particularly now when you think of the value of homes, you know.
It could have been moved.
Yeah,
somewhere.
but he didn't even think of that. Just tear it down.
And which house did they live in? The rich people?
The Howells and Mary Suarez.
Now, I'm not sure.
That
The National Biscuit Company, what they were. And so then he said he remembers at least hearing about how the children raided it.
That's what Jane was saying.
Did she?
But she was a little young.
And I wrote.
She wasn't involved in it.
No, I said the candies were confiscated by North Chatham children. And Lee's brother took this picture from that one. Now your
Those were from Boyd Welch. She did my husband. So that was before.
Are they? Oh, I realize that. Yeah, I thought you could have got some copies.
We can buy them from Boyd Welch.
It's almost the same angle, but it's slightly different. I think.
Yeah.
It's not a real duplicate. Yeah, it's over. Look at the old car. I wonder what vintage that car is.
It's taken in 1923, so it's older.
Yeah, he took it in 23, and then on his films he had this old thing, which isn't really a scene in North Chatham either, but you know where the old railroad bridge goes along parallel to the throughway crossing over the Hudson.
oh yeah,
On the Berkshire Spur, just up here. And that was the old style steam engine, was digging the cut for the Centennial Railroad cutoff. I guess they decided instead of going all the way up into Albany now, and then they made that bridge across to Selkirk. And he was, I saw in your history there, did you remember the name Halliday? It's in there 2 or 3 times.
I knew. You're right.
And he had the original farm there, and it's his daughter, Mary Stimers, you remember meeting her, or the mother, that she just passed away a short while ago.
Wasn't he a dentist or
He worked in Albany, Lee could tell you.
State Department?
Something in the State
Called
Department.
Dr. Holiday.
I don't think he was a medical or dental.
Maybe we just had a doctor.
These are some.
I think so.
The man in that picture in the blue suit was Mr. Irish, Leland Irish, who's town supervisor, town of Kinderhook at the present time, and lives just outside of the village on County Route 32. And his wife was the one that was narrating about the old steam engine. She had the white sweater and glasses in that picture. She had been telling about the old steam engine and the railroad cut and the collapse of the bridge from the candy truck. There's Chris Karabatias again. Some of the younger people there. This is our table of refreshments, and we had a cake made to look like a book as a centerpiece. This is Alberta Groves again, the postmaster or mistress, and She's taking some pictures. In the blue jeans and turquoise shirt was Emma Stamus, who's I'm doing this narration right now, and we're looking at a pair of glasses that Henrietta Douglas will tell about later on in the tape. This is Pat Colleen again, looking down at some of the old papers that were found in our safe, some old records from the library. Was something explaining what these were? I turned it.
Whatever it was, medication took care of it, and it was comparatively minor. So he's very happy now.
I always just associated things so old.
Yeah.
Funny now I got my children.
That's it.
But imagine the faith they had to do that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was on the front of the old library. Mary might know when he did it, but I don't know.
Well,
I want to get,
okay, then I
get
will
some of
bother.
my pocketbook. That was Mary Arnold's sister. She was Mary Arnold's sister.
I'm sure she was closely related,
Yeah.
because the name Tobias, but would she be Jim Tobias?
And Mary Arnold. Right. But I just don't know which one it was.
You would, yeah, work your way around. Did you also
Some of the pictures that are here are in this book. For anybody to look at it. How are you? I like it. Oh, yes. There! They aren't all like that, but that one I had something.
I believe this came first. This is Mr. Woodward, and he's talking about building it there. And then this tree had to be taken down. You see Charlie Johnson's little barber shop right there? Barber shop? Yeah. And her tree was there, a great big old tree. And they took it down. Here's the photos. And they left the little library there while they built. It was very close to the street. And it shows it again here from a different view. This is from Governor Street.
And then they took it out. You have the old books that were done.
Yeah, I have it myself.
the sign. Oh, you did too. It's roughly,
Call Mary down.
We get some, well, that's good, we get some there.
Donated it to the little library. Right here.
Together. And he wanted to be able to see out and have more view. So he bought it and tore it down. Took all the land south of Mary Suarez, except maybe 12, 15 feet from our house. Belonged to that Human property, the main south lawn.
So, is that your property now, or is that Mary's?
It's her property now. The line of trees is the division between her place and mine.
Is that still considered a building lot? Is it still considered a building lot where somebody could build a house on it?
I don't think it would be large enough now in zoning.
I didn't know whether maybe with a grandfather clause.
No, I don't think so, because that was torn down.
From left to right are Mr. and Mrs. Appolito, and then in the maroon sweater, Doris Deaver, who was talking with Henrietta Douglas in blue, and in the background, Henrietta Douglas's daughter. Joe Stone has the glasses and mustache. He's the husband of our current librarian. On the left is Kathy Stone, the librarian, and Pat Colleen, Chris Karabatias, and in blue, Muriel Dawson. Helen Schultz is in the red sweater with the blue skirt, and our postmaster, Alberta Groves, is talking there in the white blouse with the red tie.
the old expression
I think you're going to be able to see the upstairs part of the house. But, you know, once the leaves are down, close, you can see part of the foundation being got that far, and that's a different.
Then they came there.
Muriel and I were trying to make it look at County Route 17 going to Chatham.
The one that we used to in the care home, but it's going over the Chatham, is the cover parts, and you don't have to latch out. So this week has been a challenge. Oh, this they had the telephone poles were hanging. You know, the dirt was completely, so then they moved the telephone poles over to the other side. And eventually they declared the highway unsafe. And then they went down on the side of the when we were children, I had to go down a gravel bank. And we kids would ride the road, and we were riding down that road on the side by the water. I wonder if the road caved in now. You know, we were. I'm sure it
Well, your season what your season is for coloring. We had a gal that came to the friends and meet us one day and gave us some free.
find out, so, you know I
Oh, just turn it on, don't worry. You can't move around here, but somebody's taking a picture.
Go right ahead.
Sort of double doored, and it has two apartments down at the end.
It's right here. I don't know what he's up to.
Oh, he's up short. It used to be renovated, and it was just recently renovated. It was just sold.
Right now.
But, well, it had been used on and off. But they don't very much.
Wouldn't that be nice if they were like,
It had been used on and off here. They usually that's a sort of
I know exactly.
This is the now side road to Durham. That
Wait a minute. And the town of Chatham.
then road.
This is before my time.
This was replaced in 1915. I guess this is an older one that was down by Dorn's farm.
Well, the one that was over there is now we have a lot of places to sit.
Is near her house.
I know that one, you just go a little bit beyond my house, so that evidence.
There's like, no, before Route 17, there's like a driveway into Dorn's farm.
oh yeah.
That, it was there, over the bridge.
I recall something. The road to Chatham. This is a bigger bridge. The road to Chatham came down past Farmhouse, went over and went down on the other side. In front of Dorn's house.
So they redid the road.
When they did the road over, Mrs. Steimer's told me this. When they did the road over, her husband gave a little bit of land there so they could go over and down 17 and go around this side of the road.
And then, yeah, okay, so they crossed at a different point.
They no longer crossed in front of Dorn's house. Probably that is what made the decision. What year? 1950.
Replaced in 1950, rebuilt without a roof. But this is interesting too. This is the trolley station that's now the firehouse dead, and there it shows the trolley, the electric trolley.
On the old quilt, on the Centennial quilt, I drew a picture of this and a train for somebody to employ them.
Oh.
Should have had that quilt.
We didn't have space for it. Well, I suppose we could have stuck it in there, but nobody would have seen it. 1893 school children. Oh, and Jane was saying that this is Mary Schimmerhorn, who just celebrated her 95th birthday and is the only person alive from that photo of 1904 school children.
No, I wonder, her daughter-in-law is here. I wonder if she saw that. She's with my daughter. Or trolley. And I did, and they embroidered it on that bicentennial quilt. Do you remember?
Yes.
This is the mail wagon.
Now, is this also Mrs. Fairwood?
Probably.
Oh, okay. I live in Chatham, Center, and so here's there. And we go out on Old House 3 years ago. We had a because people was lost. You do, yeah. The fella who did.
This is out in the yard. See, here's the church grounds and the parsonage here. This is out in front of the house.
What place is this?
That, I don't know, because that house isn't there anymore, I don't think.
Evidently not.
Here's Arnold's Barns, and this is the one, right here would be Stoner's house. And this isn't Stoner's house.
Yes.
Oh, isn't it nice to hear this collection
You really should, yeah, because it's just there on the left. Of course. Very slowly. I'm sure we're looking. The jackets, big. And then you come around the bend where actually there's I know, and I think I'm different. No.
But it's Friday. I realize that person who's in the middle of the winter, and my house would be nice to have. I think some
See, everybody maybe like my mother lived.
I marched over today.
That would be great. My mother was very So weekend, even the weekend reservations, and the first question that's what they said.
It's going to be the first year.
I got a new little pair of glasses.
Oh, they had a container to go with it?
What is it? Aren't they diligent? What's them on? What's them on the end of your nose?
And then put it back to
Yeah,
Do these go behind your ears, this part?
they might go behind your ears when you get them back there.
Ladies' Aid or whatever, yeah, so we had a meeting. Have a sale.
Put them in the end. But that's the way they used to wear them. She looks good with them. Well, they need to be down on your nose. But it's funnier when they're not. I got a pair. It's bigger than that. Do you really? And it's true, there's a case like that.
I'll hold the glasses for you. You can hold it in the morning.
I'll see you. It's pasted down.
I don't think I'll put anything on
And
this.
these rested like this on it so they wouldn't get scratched.
But Mrs. Douglas, who do those belong to?
I don't know if she ever said anything.
Civil foster terror.
That's what I said.
And we have the painting down low of the woman wearing the glasses.
Give those glasses to the
I guess no.
It is. Oh, well, it's your glasses.
That would be lost now.
Ones were, you know, like that one little girl, like Sue's like little, you know, was, and her mother would try to move things back, and she moved. But I think that, you know, if you can just keep it so the mothers aren't making too much distraction. I
Rabbit's good.
I'll give you my page.
You have this book, you'll hear more about the why of it. Charlie Johnson was a telegrapher for the, one of the railroads, I don't remember which one. And back in 1906 or 7,
Good.
1906 or, yeah, that's the young fellows around town ran wires through the trees, and at that time we had the trolley line. Remember,
The electric.
you've heard of the trolley line. And
was asking me.
Pat Colleen's father was one of the men involved in it, and you know vaguely where Pat lives, don't you? Well, he lived up in that same area, and the trolley line wouldn't let them run the wire over the top of the trolleys. I suppose the feet would drop. So they, I think it tells about it in here, I'm not sure. So they took a well point and drove it through the bank along the creek under the trolley line, and made a pipe, and then, you know, put pipe through, and then ran the wire through that to get it up to him. And there were 10 or 12 young fellows, all saved their money and bought these telegraphy outfits and communicated with each other. The trolley station got, for instance, the correct time every noon time. And they picked that up, and then they'd relay it around to everybody. And it was the system. It was
What time, what year?
it started in 1906, and it ended in 1909 when this Mr. Hollenbeck, who first started, he was an operator, and he taught the young people. And I don't know that this was used then, but Charlie had 2 or 3 of them, and he gave this one to Kenny Lasher. And Kenny, of course, did at that time, you know, did metal refinishing and all that. And he restored it in beautiful shape and mounted it and even made the case and presented it to the library a couple of years ago. And I was hoping that he and his wife would come today because they are kind of, they have borrowed books from the library some of the time. They live out on the
That's for the coffee pot.
and I was hoping that they would. But they didn't come, because he could tell you much more about it. I don't know whether it's a transmitter or a receiver, or, you know what I'm getting at? I guess it's some of both. That's a transmitter with a key. But I don't understand the parts. That's why I just put telegraphy equipment rather than naming it. I think at the time that I brought it up here, I put more exact information. I had a little type
We're looking all over for that
and
card.
that apparently has been lost.
If it stays in.
But you see, he put right inside, it's dedicated to Charles Johnson, because it had been his equipment, and Kenny thought the library might like to have it.
Okay, good.
What was it?
What was the year of the black and white photo, roughly?
1960, I believe, possibly 61, but I think 1960.
And point out where the mill ditch is on that photograph, the black and white photo.
On the black and white photo, it's here where you see the brush laying. That was the year that it was done away with. See, Arnold's owned this land, and they own land back here. And the trees and growth along the mill ditch cut down on the amount of soil that was tillable, because they drew the moisture, and anything planted too close to the edge didn't grow. But Lloyd cut the brush in the winter, and then in the spring they burned the brush and bulldozed the ditch itself in. But when I was a child, This
this is
ran,
gonna what,
see, this is my place, the hills. And it ran right back here, and there was a bridge across here, because that was always a right of way to go to the back lots. And we used to go out there and skate. And we used to wade in it in the summer too sometimes. We couldn't swim. It normally wasn't over a foot deep, but when they were working the mill, then it would run, oh, 2.5 feet deep, just for the time. See, there were gates here, and Hubert would open them.
To control the water flow.
And down here at the mill, there was a sawmill, in my day, I mean, there was a sawmill right along the creek, and in front of that, nearer the highway, was the cider mill, and then there was a grist mill where they ground.
And they were functioning up until what time roughly?
Oh, golly.
And then if there's someone else,
1930 or early 30s, I would guess.
Up to the Depression,
Yeah.
about then. But, and then this one says grist mill, sawmill, plaster mill, fulling mill.
The plaster mill, the fulling mill was a separate operation. I don't know really what that was. I think that had to do with
Cloth,
with what?
fulling mill, is that some kind of a cloth, like belt or something?
No,
What's the fulling mill?
Are any of the mills shown in the black and white picture?
There was,
No, that's, the black and white picture's too recent.
yeah, well, the fulling mill was not connected to the other mills. The sawmill and the cider mill, I think, were there the longest.
And they're located more or less where Johnson's.
They're behind Johnson's. You know, there's a little roadway between Johnson's and Appel's. And there's a second house behind.
Pointed out on the photograph, where, roughly where they, or on the.
There's Johnson's, and that's the other little house, which Arnold's used as their tenant house. And the mills set, there was one mill here, and one behind it, which Arnold, the sawmill was right along the creek, and Arnold's used that now for storage for wagons and farm machinery and hay. But the old cider mill, it's just almost rotting away, you know what I mean? They use it a little bit for storage, but that's it.
Can you point them out on the black and white photo? The barn?
Yeah, all the mills
Yeah,
go in this one.
they're over there.
They're all right here. This is the sawmill. Let's see. Yeah, this is the sawmill, or this is the cider mill, and this way back here was the sawmill. That was right along the stream, and they would take big logs down there. When I was a kid,
but it's a small ranch.
they used to go way out to the woods, way back here. They don't, well, this is the
Back by, that's the
beginning, but
cemetery.
way back, and cut logs. And my father would pull them to the edge of the bank, and they'd roll down, and then they'd haul them across the stream, the creek. It was partly open and partly frozen. And then bring them up to the mill to saw them up. That ended long before the cider mill did. I can remember going down to the cider mill and enjoying that fresh cider right out of off the presses, you know.
Well, this is the bridge at Arnold's, built in 1865, replaced in 1912. Near Russell's, between Arnold's and Russell's on Route 203, just north of the village. Now, where Russell's is built now, where Wheeler's house is,
Well, Travers,
there was an apple
the
orchard
family ran a
over
store
here
right
on the
next to
opposite side of the bridge.
I see.
And this shows the trolley, the electric trolley at its station, which is now, this station hasn't really changed that much. It's now the North Chatham Firehouse. The last trolley ran in 1928, just before the Depression. And that electric trolley line would run people from Albany down to Kinderhook Lake, where there was an amusement park, and swimming and so forth, boating, as well as amusements and refreshments and so forth. So that's why that was one of its main uses. And it also enabled people to go into Albany and so forth. Then this is another view of that electric trolley.
At that time Bessie had been expelled.
Here
from
is
the
a
church
view
for
of the
bad
schoolhouse
behavior, but was
that
later
stood on
reinstated.
the northeast corner of the Stoner's yard and was later moved back behind their house and used as a barn. It was from 1872 to 1906. Here's 1893 school children.
Her birth date or the year?
Shown above shows the street looking north.
Oh, that's accurate. It's
The
right
church
That picture of her that
and the parsonage can be seen
Oh, does it?
behind the pine trees.
Where is it?
Okay, right here.
And Arnold's barn behind that.
Yeah.
At the left, this house burned in 1898 and was later replaced by Humphrey House.
58.
And here's the card. And we fastened that at the back in case
Now,
people were
in
looking and
1904,
going,
this picture was taken, and there is still one of these students is still alive, and that is Mary Schimmerhorn, who just celebrated her 95th birthday
She was not.
recently.
I don't know any date for that.
Now, this
When
is a picture
She's
of
quite an
an
elder. She
old
looked
store owned by Al Lewis,
Blown up from this picture.
taken from Arnold's barnyard. It burned in 1922.
By the way, that Al Lewis is related to Alberta Groves,
So
was
this
her
was
father, I think.
Her father?
That's where her house is, that barn. That's where her house is.
Oh. Gee, it looks like it's on the other, there's the bridge. It looks like,
There were no trees there.
there were no trees, so it looks like it's on the other side of the road, but it isn't. That's where her house is, stands on that property.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I didn't know there was
Groves house.
only it's a little further back.
Okay, it was set back a little. This is an old covered bridge that
Here, why don't you let me do that? I can reach better than you.
originally the road to Chatham Center, Route 17, went down past Dorn's farm.
Whereas it's just before Route 17.
Yes, today it's been rerouted and goes further south and then over the creek and doesn't go, it goes further south than Dorn's farm, and there's just like a little driveway and small bridge there. This was covered bridge was washed out in 1887 when there was a flood and the Nassau Lake Dam went out, flooding the creek. It was rebuilt without a roof in 1950.
One that Jeff, which way are we going?
Okay, this is the street looking north. To the left,
100%
in front of the post office, which later became the library,
If you were to, even if you were to buy a muslin sheet now.
is just to the left of this house.
That's right. Oh, they
And to the
are.
right is Hot Springer's Apartments and Rendell's, which was then the Travers store.
It doesn't make it.
Note the street light on the pole.
Ethel's,
That's a mine.
This your sheet?
That's a mine.
a lot of cider left.
Right here.
She was buying it.
Yeah. This, we saw this picture, another view of this picture of the old tin library when it was a post office, just before it was moved to Bessie Peck's property for the library.
Next to Kramer's.
Yeah, this is Kramer's house. Norm Miller carried mail from 1903 to 1923, 3 round trips. The post office to the trolley station 6 days a week, and his salary was $100 a year. And one day he was killed by a hit and run drunk driver in a snowstorm.
Was he really?
These are views of the old library. This is 1938. Notice that the book sign that said free library is on the library, so 1938 would make it approximately 50 years old. And this was taken at the groundbreaking for the present library. Jane Rendell, Potter, Huntley, Humphrey, Mary Daniel,
But I don't know where they had
Espinal are some of the people in that photograph. And this was tinted by Lloyd
Everyone comes to you for information.
Welch,
Think of that, Mary.
or by Edith Welch.
Mary who?
Mary Daniel.
Mary Daniel went to an organ concert today, or she would have been here.
This is the groundbreaking for the present library. I think there were some pictures over there that we saw that were similar to that. We are now going to be looking at an album of pictures which were done by Lloyd Welch. He touched up or developed negatives and worked on collecting old photographs. And this particular album was given by him to Ginny Davis. And she didn't realize that she should have brought it to the Centennial celebration, so she gave it to us to look at and take some pictures of and tell about, so that at least the pictures would be on the videotape. And she does have this album if anybody is interested in looking at it more in actual detail. The first picture is the north, on the left, is the North Chatham School in 1870. So that is a group of people, all of whom are gone, have passed away by now. Then we see another picture of Bessie Peck's house that was taken in 1910, and in front of the house and sort of to the left you can see the small park that Henrietta Douglas and Jane Rendell were talking about a couple of times during the tape that was made at the Centennial celebration. And that little park is now just a small, tiny triangle of land on which there are a few flowers, and it shrank because of the roads had to be enlarged so much that it took away the piece of property that was actually a little park with trees and everything in it. They cut down all but one tree in 1928, and today there are no trees. And the bottom right picture is facing north in the village of North Chatham, taken in 1910. And you can see again this park that I was talking about, and Arnold on the right. The left-hand picture shows the one tree left in what was once a park. It was taken in 1934. Again, today there are no trees there. And the Peck's house behind the tree. And then on the right is the Valentine home, which is now owned by another family. And on your right there are two nice pictures of Russell's Bridge, or what was called Russell's Bridge. It has been replaced just recently. In 1985 approximately it was replaced a second time, at least a second time. I don't know really how many times it's been replaced since this picture was taken in 1910. This is when it was a wooden structure. Before it was a covered bridge. And there's another view of it that was taken in 1906. Here's a close-up view of the wooden bridge that crosses the creek by Russell's on Route 203. And below that, 1895 picture looking across the bridge from Bessie Peck's house. Then on your right is a picture taken in 1901 of the railroad station. At that time it was a single track. The people in the picture are Al Welch, Maud Tater, who was the postmistress until 1909, Bill Steves, who is a mail carrier. Then below that picture, number 10, it was taken in 1905 when there was a track and a half. Al Lewis's store is in back of the station and can be sort of seen in this picture in the background. Picture number 11 was taken in 1910, and at that time there was a double track that went up to Rensselaer. In 1928, you can see the freight house and a trolley. This picture was developed from a piece that was broken. And then in 1901, the picture below was taken. This is Ren Herbs, the first station agent. There was a rotary converter to change AC to DC to boost the power in the third rail. And that's what this is a picture of. On the right? Okay. On the right, picture 15 is Harvey's Hotel. Norm Miller delivered mail 20 years and 3 trips a day for about $100 per year. That was taken in 1910. Okay, on the left top, taken in 1910, this is a view from Rendell's looking north. Maxwell's house, which is now owned by the Grosjeans, is on the left. Underneath that picture, also taken in 1910, is a view of the North Chatham School and the store next to it, owned by Fred Dorflinger. On the right is a picture taken in 1901 looking south from Bessie Peck's house. Minnie Johnson's house can be seen here before an addition was added on. And below that picture, looking south from the parsonage and church, the town of Chatham is patching the road. This was taken in 1910. Here we see the parsonage and church taken in 1906, left-hand picture. Then below it, taken in 1910, looking south, the Wiltsey residence. On the right-hand page, taken in 1906, is a view looking north on John Ring's property and Steenberg's, and the church is on the right. There's a horse block in front of Kemper's. The picture below that was taken in 1910. It's looking south. Harder's house is on the left. This was the post office from 1912 to 1930. Mulburn, Hyman, and Bain owned the house on the right at various times. This left-hand picture was taken in 1910. It's a view looking south in the village. William Finkel's house is on the left. Halliday's house is on the right. Then below that, a view taken in 1901 looking north. It's a picket fence on the Halliday's house. And Art Warren's house is on the right. In back of the house is horse block. Excuse me, in back of the horse block on the right side of this picture, you can see a kerosene street lamp overhead. Now, turning to the right-hand side of the page, you can see a picture that was taken in 1914. Nelson Lohman is driving a tractor, which is a one-cylinder tractor, to pull a road grader. And below that picture is another taken in 1935, looking south. A handyman is raking on Will Smith's yard. Okay. Okay, this top left picture, it was taken in 1910 when this was called the Kingman House. It was also called Hill's Tavern. It is now Rendell's, and for a while Rendell's owned it as a kind of boarding house restaurant place. And it was built in the beginning of the 1800s. And the first post office was established here in 1826. As the Kingman House, it was a popular summer boarding place. The picture below it shows Harvey and his daughter on the north porch of the hotel. That was taken in 1910. And to the right, taken in 1915, is a view looking north from the hotel. And below that is Kate Kingman's house, which was just past the hotel and was torn down in 1928. That was taken in 1915. We have a picture here of the North Chatham School, which was opened in 1906, and this picture was taken shortly afterwards in 1910. Then below that picture, a view of the same school taken in 1935, about 25 years later. It's a firehouse in the back which had been built. Then on the right, picture taken in 1906 of Hallenbeck's store. At the left rear, you could see the boys' outhouse for the North Chatham School. Then below that, a picture taken in 1909 of that same store with Fred Dorflinger in the picture. Upper left picture here is Harold Johnson's store. This was taken in 1910. He was the owner then. Below that picture is Eidelman's house. This was taken in 1924. Then on the right, the upper right picture, was taken in 1930. This is a picture of Florence Walker. Eidelman added to the house in 1928, or added the house to the store, in 1928. Then below that, it's a picture taken in 1928 of Irish Schimmerhorn's truck in front of the Welch's house. Picture taken in 1913 of the post office, which was later made into a boys' club. Then on your right, upper right, a picture taken in 1916 of Lily and John Harder. Below that, picture taken in 1910, in front of the home of the Montross Hoteling, Hofspringer's house, is Will Smith, mother and sister. This was built in 1840 for the Sons of Temperance Hall. Upper left-hand picture was taken in 1914. It's a picture of the parsonage, 1856 to 1858. Maxwell and his wife owned this house. It's presently owned by the Grosjeans, and in 1878 this picture below was taken. This was of the Flanders house built by Noadiah Hill. On your right, upper picture was taken in 1908. Harvey owned the hotel and took in boarders in the summer, and the people in the picture are Stan Wiltsey, Doc Wiltsey, Marion Wiltsey, Ed Harvey, Irv Weatherwax, Jack Maxwell's wife. And the picture below that was taken in 1920 from the house that is presently owned by the Clappers. Looking south, the Bessie Peck's house is on the right. This is the beginner of Bunker Hill Road. This picture was taken in 1920. It's Kate Kingman's house. The school teachers always boarded there. The picture below it was taken in 1892. It's a view of the carriage factory and Walker's blacksmith shop. It was converted to Howell's house in 1910. Rao first moved in to it, and from left to right, Wellington Harris, Tunis Miller, Dudley Walker, and the porter and the porter's son, Lewis Smith. Frank Smith, Norm Miller, and Finn Reed are on that picture. On your upper right, we have a picture taken in 1910 of the dam on the Valachikill Creek in back of Arnold's house. And below it, taken in 1901, a few years earlier, shows a wooden dam and postal telegraph pole. Picture taken in 1927 shows Lloyd Welch going over the dam in a canoe. And the picture below that, taken a few years earlier in 1920, shows the dam, Arnold's barn, and Adams' house. On your upper right is another view of the dam that was taken in 1920, and below that, taken in 1919, shows the trolley bridge, which was taken out in 1943. Walter Branch and Maud Welch, or her cousin, I'm not sure what it means there in the notes, and her cousin Ray Hogle and Lloyd Welch, I believe, are in the picture. This picture is a little bit difficult to see. It's taken in 1901. The mill, the wooden trough, which carried water to an overshot water wheel. This mill burned in 1908. The picture below it is a little clearer. This was taken in 1905. It shows a turbine water wheel and wooden pipe which replaced the trough. On the upper right, this picture taken in 1909 shows Gus Ham's new sawmill. And below it, also taken in 1909, is a picture of the grist and cider mill. These, I believe, were all located down near what is now the Johnson property and Dorn's farm area. This picture taken in 1910 shows Ellis Schimmerhorn standing beside a steel hydraulic cider press in the cider mill. And on the right, the upper picture taken in 1900, Amy's owned the Farrington's blacksmith shop, which was torn down in 1913. Picture below that was taken in 1916. It's a view looking north, showing Farrington, Jordan Bain, Idleman's hotel, and the hotel. This picture taken in 1915 shows Minnie Johnson, the RCH car in front of Farrington's house. And the picture below that was taken in 1909, Hubert Arnold in his Peerless auto. The upper right picture was taken in 1934. It's Harry Kells. And below it, taken in 1924, is a view looking south from Groves and Bullock's house. There are a lot more trees than there are today. It's kind of a little shaded. This picture taken in 1920 shows a new push cart on 3 wheels, and Norm Miller is standing beside it. It's in front of Waldron's, which is now Harry Hoteling's house. Picture below it was taken in 1918 in front of Harder's. On the right-hand side, the upper picture was taken in 1893. The house burned where Dottie Humphrey's house is now. There, if you look carefully in the background, there's a windmill on Arnold's barn visible and a picket fence from the parsonage to Arnold's. The picture below in that upper picture there was also a school at Stoner's. The picture below it is a view of the school that was in Stoner's barn that I just mentioned. And it was a school from 1872 to 1906. This picture was taken in 1917. It shows the dock at Rings Park. Mrs. Fred Dorflinger is in the picture, and that's been tinted with color. Below it is a picture that was taken in 1895. It shows the old Gras house next to the cemetery, which was built by Lewis Johnson and burned in 1913. John Miller and family are shown in the foreground. The picture on the upper right-hand side of the page was taken in 1880. It shows John Smith's wife and daughter, and this house was originally next to Flanders' house. The house was moved in 1870 to next to the Fixes' residence, south of the village on Route 203. And the picture below it shows Lobdell, which is now the Fix house, and this was taken in 1907. This photograph, they're all around a new phonograph that had just been purchased in 1907. The upper picture shows Russell's Bridge during the 1938 flood, and the 2 pictures grouped below are also of the same 1938 flood, September 24th, 1938. It shows just after the flood and during the flood to show the difference in the water. I guess the water didn't quite go over the bridge totally. On your right, the upper picture was taken in 1937. It shows Edith Welch and her sister Florence, and this is looking north toward Rings Park, taken from the bridge across that's on Route 203. And below it, this was taken in 1949. It's looking south from the same bridge towards Arnold's house. This view, taken in 1920, is looking north from Arnold's farm house. Al Lewis's store, which burned just 2 years later in 1922, can be seen. And the picture below was taken in 1937. This is looking north from the bridge also. And Rab is in the canoe. The picture on the right was taken in 1910. This house was built in 1871 by Bradley Nichols. R.B. Russell and William Russell owned it from 1895 to 1830, and then it was the Arnolds. Excuse me, I'm not sure which. The Arnolds, I'm assuming, owned it from 1930, and they still presently own it. In 1920, here is a view that we also were looking at it during the Centennial celebration at the library. Someone had another copy of this picture. A truck went through the bridge below Hicks' house and Nichols' farm. It was carrying imported groceries from Bennington, Vermont. And the picture below it also shows just another view of that, the bridge collapsing. Now, a new bridge was built after the truck went through the old one in 1920. You can see the Albany Southern Railroad Bridge in the background. Then this shows 1938 there was a flood which again destroyed the bridge. And the picture below is another view of the flood damage to the bridge in 1938. And the small unattached picture again shows the 1938 flood damage after the flood was over. And Jane Rendell and Jean Hoteling are the two young girls in the picture. On the right, picture taken in 1906 of the North Chatham Church. You can see a kerosene lamppost and some interesting sheds in the rear. The picture below that was taken in 1920, and it's a view of the interior of the North Chatham Church. This picture was taken in 1930. It's a side view of the North Chatham Church. And on the right-hand side of the page, we have a picture taken in 1927. And this is a picture of the North Chatham fire truck getting ready to go to the second Fireman's Parade. The picture below that was taken in 1934. And there's no explanation about it. But it appears to be the fireman sitting in front of what looks like the fire truck that was just pictured above. But this was taken in 1934, I believe. This picture was taken in 1947, and it shows Sheffield Farms Milk Station. The picture below that was taken in 1915. Arthur Scott and Bill Ballantyne are in the picture. The barns between the firehouse and the Hughes' house were the Ackroyd moved these barns to the Zayaks in 1918. Then on your right, picture taken in 1927, shows building of Vault Lorenzo Stone Mansion built by Chris Kurtznacker and John Ring are in the picture. Looking more closely at the picture and the notes, I realized this is the Rows had a vault built in the North Chatham Cemetery, and Lorenzo was the stonemason, and Chris Kurtznacker and John Ring evidently are in the picture, either helping to build or just happen to be in the picture. Notice how there are no trees around, so all those trees grew up since that building, that vault was built. The picture below was taken in 1949 of the ball team, and the people in the picture are Junie Stever, Billy Duncan, Walt Kay, and then Ron Davis, Bob Light, Ralph Johnson, possibly Jack Trussell, Bob Davis, not sure, but possibly Abe Peckham, and Al Arnold. This picture was taken in 1945 in the Jordan's yard. It's of Cy Hoteling and Grant Deo. Picture below it was taken in 1910 of the trolley station at Waldorf Farms, and Rab, as a small child, is in the picture. On the right-hand side, we have a picture of the hurricane damage that was, as you look south toward Rendell's and see how many trees were taken down in that hurricane in 1950. And below it, another view of the hurricane damage in 1950, looking north from Rendell's. Again, 1950 hurricane damage looking north from Rendell's. And some more views. The picture in the middle shows looking towards Stoners, and Nick Walters is in the picture. And the bottom view is again looking towards Stoners with Herbert Hogel, Frank Desmond, Nick Walters, and John Ring in the picture. On the right-hand side of the page, picture 107 is a similar view looking towards Stoners, and picture 108 next to it shows that the roof of the church was torn off, and down below that shows a view of the churchyard. This is when a lot of the trees came down along the main village street in North Chatham, and it's a lot, since 1950 there's been many fewer trees in the village. Another view of the churchyard after the 1950 hurricane. In fact, all three of the pictures on this page are of the churchyard. The two women in the middle picture are Louise Gordon and Dorothy Montross. And on the right-hand side of the page, again a view of hurricane damage, and the people in the bottom picture shows the church, and Reverend Bailey and Archie Johnson are not too easy to pick out, but they're in that picture. Okay, this picture was taken in 1928 in front of the North Chatham School, and the names are not given, but you may look at the picture and see if you recognize any of the people as children. The picture below that is much older, taken in 1904, again the North Chatham School. Notice the old flag in the background. and the way the stars are placed. On the right, the picture taken in 1916 is of Martha Farrington, Ruth Brooks, and Ralph Brooks along the creek. This picture was taken in 1911, another school group. Again, Lloyd Welch did not try to identify all the faces, any of the faces here in his notes. And the picture below that was taken in 1921, according to the date on this picture. And that is again of a group in front of the North Chatham School. On the right is a picture taken in 1930 of Rings Park along Bunker Hill Road along the edge of the creek. The Gordon and Dr. Potts and his wife purchased the North Chatham School, which had been vacant for quite a number of years, in the 1980s, and they fixed it up in 1986, and these were taken in 1986 of the North Chatham School, fixed up into, I believe, 2 apartments. As I mentioned at the beginning of this section, looking at this album, Lloyd Welch was the one that compiled these pictures. Many of them were from old negatives and so forth, old collections of pictures. And he gave Ginny Davis the information which she wrote down, and I followed in kind of, at times, sketchy notes. So anyone who would want more detailed information could talk with Lloyd Welch or Ginny Davis to try to get more detailed information about these pictures. James Matherson, Charles Renshaw. Row 2, Gwendolyn Dawes, Faith Dutcher, Anita Edwards, Phyllis Arnold, Doris Edwards, Elizabeth Williams, Helen, ? Millie Matherson, Tina Van Dam. Row 3, William Telter, Donald Edelman, Bob Matherson, Leland Irish, Charlotte Van Dam, Frances Bibbins, Bertha Bartlow, Herman Van Dam, Claude Felter, and Lester Dutcher. Row 4 is Jimmy Williams, Percy Bartlow, Whitney Irish, Ed Matherson, Paul Bibbins, Harold Bassett, George Walker. In row 5, Jane Rendell, Frances Rendell, Marion Dudley, Lillian Felter, and Ella Felter. School picture taken in 1921. Row 1 is Joseph Falkowski, Charles Graw, Adam Falkowski, Friedberg, and then row 2, Blanche, another Friedberg, Blanche Friedberg, Agnes Powers, Alice Hotelling, Myrtle Palmer, Annie Falkowski, Elizabeth Ackroyd, and Phyllis Palmer. And in row 3, Ethel Greenman was the teacher. And then Jack Irish, Harry Dayton, Ray Hogle, Ray Reynolds, and Lloyd Welch.